Hi, my name is Janisha. I am from Jamaica. I have lived in Okayama Prefecture for 5 years, the entire 5 years. I've been with ALTIA for 3 out of the 5, but I do have 5 years ALT experience.
Hello, my name is Keegan Clausen. I am from Alberta, Canada. I have been in Japan for 4 years. I have also been working with ALTIA Central for 4 years. I have been many different places within Japan, but I am currently in Gifu.
My name is Ebenezer Mixin Okai. That sounds long. Please call me Mickey. I am a local lead teacher in Okayama, but I live in Kasaoka. I have been in Japan for 6 years. My first 2 years was in the university days where I studied education and how to teach in general. And I've been in Japan, like I said, for 6 years, but with ALTIA Central for 3 years.
Hi, my name is Kyron. I'm from Shoals, Indiana. It's a small little town south of Bloomington. I have been in Japan for 7 to 8 years. I've been with ALTIA for about 3. I currently teach junior high level in Okayama Prefecture, but I live in Hyogo Prefecture. I have worked around the Kansai area and taught everything children from age 6 months all the way up.
Hi, my name is Greg. I am from Tacoma, Washington, and I have been working and living in Nishio in Aichi in Japan for the last 9 years. I've worked in kindergarten, elementary, junior high school, and I've even worked on a tiny little island with only 2 to 3 kids per class.
What is the best part of being an ALT?
The best part of being an ALT, I would say, is the experience that I've gained. And I have grown as a person, as an individual, not just as a teacher and helping the students grow, but going to school every day, you definitely experience seeing the students learn, and the fact that they find English so difficult and they're able to understand through your teaching, your skills that you've gained through my company, ALTIA. It makes me so happy and overjoyed. It literally gives me a reason to wake up every morning.
I'd have to say the best part about being an ALT is being able to go into an area and experience the culture and experience everyone's personality and just enjoying the atmosphere and becoming part of the community.
I think having a good time with the students and helping them to be able to understand me through language is the best thing, because the world becomes very interesting when everyone can understand each other, and that is what language stands to do. That's the best part.
I think the best part of being an ALT is that every day is actually different. So you don't get stuck in the mud day to day feeling like there's a drudgery going on. Every day there's a new class, there's a new teacher, there are new students. So it's really refreshing day to day.
What is the most heartwarming moment you shared with your students?
The most heartwarming moment? Oh gosh. I would say it would be one of my special needs students. He has ADHD and he does not speak to anyone, period. He doesn't talk to his teachers, and he's also a half Japanese, half American. So for him, he's always speaking English, and when his Japanese teacher speaks to him, he will understand, but he does not want to communicate. And over time, for me, just constantly going and being in his presence, trying to play a game, showing him that it is okay. And by the end of second semester, he's just looking at me and holding my hand and saying, let's play a game. And I literally cried my eyes out. And I looked at him, I said, thank you for being my friend. And he's like, you're welcome. And that was the first time he has ever said anything to me. And he has been speaking to me ever since.
The most heartwarming moment I've shared with my students, there are too many to really say, but one that always brings a smile to my face, no matter what, is one time I was teaching a class and I had told the students that my birthday was coming up because it was part of the unit, and I told them my birthday, thought nothing of it, the day of my birth came upon us, and I was surprised to see that the students had drawn on the chalkboard, "Happy birthday, Mr. Keegan," and they made me a crown and a big old necklace, and we all sang "Happy Birthday," and yeah, I still have that crown sitting in my home right now, and every time I look at it, it brings a smile to my face.
That is when I shared with them about my culture. They are able, in Japan, for example, what they use for food, in my country, we can use it for medicine. And that was a moment of surprise to them. I feel like I give students opportunity to know what happens around the world. It is most heartwarming to me.
The most heartwarming moment is usually when a student who maybe doesn't have the best grasp on the English language is able to have a breakthrough. I had one student that came to me and asked to do one-on-one interview practice for high school entrance exams. They were really concerned about the English portion, so we practiced after school for a week or two, and then they felt more comfortable going into their interview. And afterwards, they came to me and said, "Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in, but I felt much more comfortable, and I'm very grateful that you were there for me." So that made my heart very fuzzy and warm.
What would you say is the most challenging part of being an ALT?
Challenging part of being an ALT would be the language barrier for me, because I'm from a different country. I am not used to the culture. I'm not used to the etiquette. I'm not used to the form of communication. So the language barrier would definitely be one. Two, I would say building a rapport with the teachers. And I work with many teachers, up to 5, and they all have a different teaching style. They all have a different way of communicating. I think that building a rapport with them, as well as finding time to have uchiawase as an ALT to get work done, because I can't support you if you are not available to help me to be there for you. So those would be the two main things I would say are challenging as an ALT.
I would say that communication can be a bit challenging, not only because of the potential language barrier, but because just everyone's just so busy, and it's difficult to find the time to communicate with teachers or with school staff or with friends or family and so on and so forth, and trying to fit that within your daily life, your schedule, that can be the most challenging part.
Well, not now, but initially, being called at any time to do something which I never prepared for. It was one of the biggest challenge initially, but now I've grown to prepare for all those things. So it's pretty better now than it used to be when I started the job.
The most challenging part of being an ALT is, in addition to every day is always different, that's a good part, sometimes it also can be a bad part. If you are not comfortable sometimes working on the fly or being hyper flexible, it can be a little challenging. So don't feel that if your plan has to suddenly change, that it's a failure or it's a bad thing. I think it's better to have a more flexible mindset, and you'll be a little bit happier in your day-to-day.
I guess as an ALT, I have to work with lots of different students and lots of different teachers and lots of different schools, and trying to adapt my personality to match with what each school wants is definitely something that's a lot more challenging than I think maybe most people give credit for. And it's definitely, so for me, definitely that's probably the most difficult thing.
What were your first few weeks like as an ALT?
My first few weeks, woo, it was a whirlwind of emotions. As an ALT, I was ready to go in and I was overjoyed. I was upfront, and when I'm in school, I'm super extroverted. I go out, I greet the kids, I find out what they like, and I say, "What's that?" I build that curiosity so they realize, hey, this is somebody who's approachable. And that's one of the things I would say it is.
My first few weeks were very, very stressful. For my situation, I came in halfway through the year, and the person that had left didn't leave on the best terms in the schools, as far as the schools were concerned. So that was definitely a struggle to try and kind of patch up some of the, I guess it's kind of the rough atmosphere that was left behind, and yeah.
So my first few weeks as an ALT, I think everyone would give you the same answer. It can be a little rough because possibly you are new to Japan, but you are definitely new to your school. So you have to relearn the school atmosphere and find your part in the relationships between the students and the teachers and find your niche at the school. So it can be a little challenging at first, but it's extremely rewarding and you can make some of the best relationships out of your school and your classes.
Why did you choose ALTIA Central?
I chose ALTIA Central because of the support that you get from the staff, as well as the reputation that it has and holds towards its ALTs. I was coming from a background where I was not being supported mentally as well as emotionally as an ALT, being in a foreign country, not knowing anyone, and I lived in the super Inaka area, so I needed that support and I needed that person to communicate with. ALTIA, who I met through a friend, they suggested that, hey, this is a company that is there for you, and you don't only get the support you need from them, but you also have the opportunity to move up in the company for your personal goals and career goals.
I chose ALTIA Central because out of all of the positions that we're hiring at the time, throughout the interview process, ALTIA Central had the most mobility, both in company and country. So there were opportunities to teach in multiple different prefectures, and I wanted to not only teach English in Japan, but I also wanted to explore Japan. And so having that ability to work all across the country in different contract areas and also have the opportunity to potentially move up within the company were the deciding factors of me choosing ALTIA Central.
I really wanted a family or a company that will give me the opportunity to develop all my skills. So I didn't just want to end up being an ALT, but I want to see whether I can explore other aspects of my life. I started as an ALT, and then I got the opportunity to become a local lead teacher. So I can now have diversities in my life, and that is really more satisfying for me.
What do you think of the support provided by ALTIA Central?
The support that I get from ALTIA so far has been heartwarming. I can say that for sure, because I've experienced so many things in the past, and being able to say that, oh, let me just call my supervisor and vent without them thinking that I need advice, because we're all adults and I know what I need to do. It's just the venting I can say I've pretty much used a lot. So being able to just talk to somebody, either a supervisor or an ALT or even a friend that you meet through the company, I would say is my biggest support in a foreign country as a woman who has no idea what to do.
The support that I have received has been absolutely fantastic. I would not be where I am today without the support from the supervisors and local lead teachers and cover teachers and other ALTs in the area. It's because of them that I have been able to get great ideas and reflect on my teaching style to improve, to be able to do what I can do today.
It's really awesome. I never got stranded anywhere. Supervisors are always on the lookout to help, and I feel it's something unique that ALTIA Central stands out for. It's really good. It makes me, wherever I find myself, not to be alone, even though I can't be alone in that environment. I know there are people behind the scene that I can easily relate to.
As an employee for ALTIA Central, I feel like we're really lucky in the amount of resources and support given. A lot of other ALT companies might not give resources, so going into school day one, a lot of ALTs might flounder. We're really lucky in that we not only have a printed out binder version for different activities and lesson plans, but we have set up a website So with the new website, everything can be downloaded quickly and accessed and shared with your Japanese teachers as well. So I feel like that sets up the teachers for a lot of success.
How did ALTIA Central prepare you for your role as an ALT?
ALTIA prepared me a whole lot, to be honest. Like, I got all the training through ALT orientation training. We have follow-up training after that, and then we have professional development training. And then we have the local lead teacher access, where we can talk to our lead teachers about help and activities and reinforce what we learned in OT, as well as the supervisors being there to provide us with resources. The business development department provides us with amazing resources. And not just that department, but the recruiting department also gives you a heads up and a clear expectation of what the position entails, as well as you can just say, hey, let me just meet some people online, let me just get to know all of these things, and all of that combined makes you ready, and you can just go out and say, I can do this on my own. And even if you can't do it on your own, they still even provide you with OJT on the job training, which is fantastic.
My first few weeks in Japan, we had orientation training, and the hands-on approach with creating lessons and looking through the activity guide and trying to use the company's activities in our own lesson plans and trying them out has been phenomenal. And because of the training, I felt confident going into my first few weeks and being able to use those ideas in a class and then improve upon them as time went on, and I got more comfortable with more activities.
So the training, ALTIA gave us wonderful training. It really answered most of my doubting questions, because I was asking myself, how do I do it? Can I do it? But all these questions were answered through the training. It was more interactive. It was classroom-related specifics, where case study and scenarios in the classroom were discussed. And so I regained my confidence before I started the work. I think the training was one of the first stage that built my capacity to start the job.
What advice would you give to anyone wanting to teach and live in Japan?
Well, that is a very, very good question, because it really comes down to being self-motivated and having an open mind to integrate into a culture that up until now probably haven't had much exposure to other than social media. I would say that to come to Japan to live and to work you definitely need to have an open mind. There are a lot of things that may be surprising and may be new, and in some cases maybe even comical. But especially for myself, I needed to get out of the mindset that this isn't something that is otherworldly. It's something that I am experiencing and expected to take part in. So coming to live and work in Japan, I would say have an open mind and be ready to learn every day.
I would say it's a wonderful opportunity for other people to equally learn about your culture, for other people to be helped by you, because whatever you do to people, it eventually comes to you. So I would always encourage people to take up this role. Whilst you help people to understand language, you help people to be able to develop all their skills in language. It's a refreshing moment, making things easier for people to understand in terms of their lessons. It's really a good opportunity.
Whenever you come to Japan, I feel that everyone has very high expectations, and everyone goes through the honeymoon phase. Usually about 6 to 9 months after you move to Japan, everyone suddenly feels not depressed, but suddenly things don't seem quite so rosy. Just remember, when you first come to Japan, you still have that tourist mindset. You haven't fully segued into I am a citizen here. So even if you hit that sudden rough patch or like homesickness, realize that it's not anything that no one else has encountered, and it's not a problem. Just reach out to your friends, reach out to your community, and you'll enjoy living in Japan long term as long as you keep that open mindset.
Temper your expectations. The English level here is not, maybe it's not the highest. So, be patient with the students and the teachers. It's an ongoing process here. It's getting better every year, but relatively speaking with other countries, it's kind of low. So, be prepared for that.
How do you interact with students outside of classes?
I interact with students outside of classes in a way where I feel like it should be natural and native and comfortable as possible. I do have small talk sessions with my kids every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays within a week. So the students know they need to come to me in the English room after cleanup time before the fifth period, which they have an extra good 10-15 minutes. During that time, we can have one-on-one conversations, ACAN practices, homework practices, journal writing practices, even karaoke, which they love. Karaoke days, which is Friday, karaoke Fridays, they're always coming in and they're always requesting songs to sing. And I said, well, let's do it. And they will just blossom with it. Not only just in small talk times, I do naturally join classes. I do go into club activities as well. And lately, I started doing Iwon Grand Prix in Okayama, which is one of the prefectural English drama competitions. And I'm super happy I was a part of that experience because my school, my kids, they came second. And I am super happy for that. So applause to them for that.
I will typically just initiate communication. So if I see some students walking around and they are kind of just joking around, playing dodgeball, or if they are at the desk and they're playing chess or something like that, just going in there and just initiating conversation. Just, hey, how's it going? I've also created some programs for both the lunch period and after school where I essentially let students and teachers know that I'm going to be here at this time. If you'd like to communicate, you're more than welcome to come and communicate with me and other students. And so that, in combination with what I had mentioned before, it's just being available to communicate and being proactive in that communication.
Amazing. I use costumes. So during Christmas time or Halloween, I make sure to dress in different costumes. And that also connects me with the society, with the community. And every student would like to ask me questions. I have vocabulary tags I put on every day. So each day I have a new vocabulary. And then students would want to find out together with staff, what is the new vocabulary today? I have activities like English box, fruit box, vocabulary or mystery bag that I hang on. These are various activities to connect with the student outside. And so sometimes when students do not even play on the field, they would always look for me because there is something I have which we can enjoy. And these are really classroom related activities, but I have simplified it and it can be used outside the classroom. And more opportunity to practice what is being done in the classroom. It's an awesome moment. I call it the magic moment.
Outside of classes, I used to interact with students quite a lot, everywhere from just talking in the hallway to I'll join club sports. Of course, there are big events, and I've even went on my personal time because I wanted to. I joined and I went to like a chorus festival, and I was able to watch the school's chorus perform and compete against other schools in the area. So that was really rewarding for me.
How do you support teachers and students during the lessons?
I support the teachers through being available. That's the one thing I can say. Just being available and being flexible. Because I do work with up to 5 teachers, which is 5 different teaching styles, 5 different ways of doing things. And they have a different way of thinking. It's really hard to be able to communicate with them as well. So supporting them and letting them know, hey, this is where we're at in the lesson. Here are some lesson plans. Here are some activities. If you need them, they're available. You can pick and choose whatever you want to do. And if it is that they're too busy to be able to give me that uchiawase I need, they still have those resources they can pull for. They have the Bible that I provide, which is what I call the binders, which has all the activities and lesson plans provided by ALTIA. I call it my Bible. I say, hey, you have this. If you need it, it is here. And if I'm not available or I'm at a different school, you can definitely take it up and look into it and see how it can support you. As it relates to students, again, being available, being accessible, and not saying no to those students. Because as a student, I can remember learning a different language once I tried to open up and try to be comfortable in learning in a learning environment. If I get that one negative response, I will be clamming up in a shell and I will not be opening up again. So being open and being available, not saying no, and if I can't or don't have the time, I will definitely let them know, hey, let's talk later at this time, and I give them a time limit and a time frame on a date.
I personally like to be as prepared as possible, as flexible as possible, and as proactive as possible. So having a solid grasp of the content of the textbook, the content and how to execute activities, and the keywords, the grammar, just being prepared for that class, being flexible so that if the homeroom teacher needs to introduce something or needs to change something or needs to move on quickly or needs an extra 5 minutes, having that flexibility to support them in being able to take over or being able to guide them into something else is how I help. And being proactive. So if I am not actively introducing or talking about something for the class, I am proactively walking around helping students, proactively thinking about how I can enhance the teacher's explanation, or proactively asking questions like, oh, hey, sensei, can I write this on the board? Oh, that's a great idea. Hey, we also do this back home in Canada. So proactively looking for ways to hop into the class. So typically I like to be prepared, I like to be flexible, and I like to be proactive.
Depending upon the school, you might be asked to do a variety of things for your teachers. Everything from just repeating the vocabulary to they might ask you to make a whole section, for example, activities, or they might ask you to run the whole lesson. So again, just try to be really supportive, and I always try to have good lesson planning with my teachers to see what they're hoping for, and then I can always give them my ideas and we can pick and choose what we think works best for each class and each grade. So I think just being flexible and you'll see what you need to bring to the class.
What events and camps have you participated in? What was it like?
Camps. I really like camps. So the camps that I've done with my company are from elementary, kindergarten, all the way up to high school. So the experience is there. I have done events related to teacher training programs. I have done indoor, outdoor camps, and it's just phenomenal because all these camps you can go to, you learn and you meet new people, you learn new activities. There is this one activity that's called Shumai Janken. It is hilarious, and the students love it. They love to play it. It's similar to a rock, scissors, paper, but the kids, once they learn it once, they always want to play over and over and over. And if there is any time that you don't know what to do, Shumai Janken. And if you realize, if I play from elementary, no matter the age group, from elementary to high school, the kids, they all love it.
think I've participated in just about everything. I've gone to the tournaments for like basketball, kendo, baseball. I've gone to the sports day events. I've gone to the school plays. I've done tons and tons of English camps. And yeah, it's always really fun just to kind of see your students outside of that normal classroom environment.
I've participated in a lot of school events and camps, both from the school hosting it to ALTIA Central hosting it. Some school events could be things like the culture festival, the sports festival. They might ask you to take part in graduation or the opening ceremony and ask you to give some words of advice in English to help the students feel motivation for the coming school year. As far as ALTIA events, I've done a lot of English camps. They're really rewarding and fun, and you get to meet a lot of students not only outside of the classroom, but outside of the school. So you really get to see their personalities come out, and they're so excited to see you.
I have participated in sports days, culture festivals, several national holidays, English camps. They've all been absolutely fantastic. It's an opportunity to learn more about how the students interact with other students, how to interact with both the English culture and their own culture. And it's also an opportunity to share in that experience with them, to grow with them. And through that, the experience becomes even better.